construction costs are high. The cost of saving for future infrastructure improvements is high. I'd like to see Star Lake continue into the future. It sounds like they need some help with their water and sewer and septic arrangements. And also just that our affordable housing fund is small. And I think it said in the memo, it's not, it's been about $45,000 since 1997 or something like that. If it had another zero on it, it could have been used to maybe buy a property or renovate existing property or get something started there. But I think allowing this loan to happen is a good use of that fund that's just sat there for so many years. So that's my opinion on it.
And this is Jeff LaBelle. I just, with the Affordable Housing Subcommittee, I just want to note that I'm here. And obviously you've read my memos. If you have questions for me about the Affordable Housing Subcommittee and our deliberations, but we talked about this at detail in 2 meetings, made a recommendation that you have in your packet, went to the Planning Commission. They similarly recommended approval, and it's now before you. And some money's been there for 20 years. We really want to do something good with it. It's not big enough to do all the amazing things that we want. We'd love to do 20, 30, 50 units of affordable housing. Those are multi-million-dollar projects. We have an opportunity to do something really good here to help people stay and afford to live in town. And it therefore satisfies the goal of providing affordable housing in perpetuity, which is really the goal of the fund.
I have a question, Matt. In reading all your documents, I read that the Affordable Housing Subcommittee approved the recommendations by a vote of 4-1. And so I was just wondering, is it possible to quickly summarize why one person might have not recommended it?
Well, I will say that the one person who declined to support it is on the Planning Commission, and he voted to support it at the Planning Commission stage.
Okay.
So whatever his concern was allayed at the Planning Commission stage.
Great. Thank you. And thank you for putting this together. It was good to read and seems like a great idea.
Thank you. You're a chair, I think. Someone has a hand.
Yeah, I have my hand up. I also wanted to say I actually really enjoyed reading this. And I thank you for its the material that's in it and how it was written. I support this. I wonder if anyone has a concern. I don't think I have a concern, but I wonder about it. At 0% over 10 years, we're taking a small fund and effectively probably halving it, right? So after 10 years, it will be worth significantly less than it is today with zero interest. Is that a concern to anyone? Just a question. I support this, but
I can just say from the Affordable Housing Subcommittee's point of view, frankly, that if we were able to provide a grant for this, we would have done it. It's a worthy cause. It's a very small amount of money. But we determined we were not able to do a grant given the terms of the article that came before the voters for a revolving fund. We did the closest we could to a grant, to be honest, and tried to give them some generous repayment terms.
okay.
I have a follow-up to that, Chairman Griggs. I've wondered for a long time if there was some kind of alternate funding mechanism to replenish or build up the affordable housing fund, like something through the, a community foundation or something, so that you could have private donations flowing in to help out. I don't know exactly if that is possible, but perhaps draining the fund would also be a challenge to figure out whether it should be eliminated, that grants are the way to go, or is there some kind of alternate way to replenish it and build it up?
But that's not on the agenda tonight.
No, it's not on for tonight. It's just a thought.
Yeah, really good thought. I agree. Sorry, I still have my hand up. I think by making the motion, we've decided this does fit within the requirements. We have to decide on what number we put in the, or proposing that it fits within the requirements. But we have to decide what number to put in the space, whether it's the 45,000 that was originally sought, or the full amount that is in the fund now, which was proposed in March 29, 2026 analysis.
If I could just say, permission that having $5,000 sitting around, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, we'll wait another 30 years, right? Before that, so let's just take all of our money that we have and put it towards a good use here. I agree with Mary. We should try to grow the fund. That's a great idea. We did try to grow the fund. The town told us they were not able to accept donations that were directed to a specific purpose, so we weren't able to do that. We did look into a community foundation as an alternative, and that was complicated. It was going to be expensive, and they had a management fee. And so all this is to say, it's a great idea, but I just don't think there's a lot of value in keeping $5,000, around when it could be put to good use here.
Point of order, just that the motion would be the entire amount. It would be the 45,000 plus the accrued interest, because it says the entire,
Right, the full amount.
the full amount. So the way the motion is written, if we decide to go in that direction, that's what we're talking about.
Good. Any more discussion? Let's vote. We have the town manager.
I just had one thought, which would be if the motion could be, if we could round off that number maybe and make it either $51,000, and whatever is left over would, I guess, just stay somewhere in a fund. That might make it a little simpler when we get to the point of crafting a repayment schedule.
Okay, so rather than saying the full amount in the Affordable Housing Revolving Fund, we would say a specific amount.
That would be maybe simpler as far as moving the loan repayment forward. I think 51,000 would be the closest amount there, right?
So I'm willing to amend my motion to say that the amount that would be loaned is $51,000. Or actually, I'd have to withdraw the motion first, I think.
Yeah.
I'm willing to withdraw my motion. Matt, you'd have to do
I
that
would
too.
withdraw my second.
Okay. And then I'd like to make a new motion. Shall I read the whole thing or just amend?
Yes. Go ahead and read the whole thing.
Okay. Let's see. I want to just see where to put that amount.
Instead of the full amount in the Affordable Housing Revolving
Right.
Fund, you could say for
51,000. Okay.
from the affordable. So for 51,000 from the Affordable Housing Revolving Fund.
Yes. Hang on a minute.
Okay.
Okay, here goes. I move that, having considered the Affordable Housing Revolving Fund guidelines approved by an earlier select board on April 24th, 2019, and the lack of any prior formal requests for the funding, considering the pros and cons of the funding application by the Twin Pines Housing Trust on behalf of the Star Lake Trust, the select board believes that the request satisfies enough of the guidelines to merit funding. Accordingly, we approve a loan to the Twin Pines Housing Trust for $51,000 from the Affordable Housing Revolving Fund number 23 at a rate of 0% and a term of 12 years with no payments for the first 2 years, followed by a 10-year repayment period. No security is required. These terms to be formally agreed upon in a legally binding loan repayment contract with the town and borrower.
And I'll second.
Terrific. Discussion? No discussion. Let's vote. Klassen,
Aye.
Layton,
Yes.
Here,
Yes.
Sweat,
Yes.
and Griggs is a yes. Fantastic.
Right.
Let's
Thanks
go
so
do
much.
some septic work.
Thank you.
Great, appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for a very clear set of documents.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Appreciate it.
All right. Number 7, NPD request for purchase of speed messaging sign. Anyone like to move this?
I move to approve the expenditure of $37,900 for the purchase of 2 Speed Alert 24 combination radar and variable messaging trailers as requested in a memo from Police Chief Romei on the 4th of June, 2026, funding to be taken equally from the 2026 and 2027 police operational budget, account number 1-5-500204.
Second. Anyone?
I think.
That's Gear.
Yep.
Thank you. All right. Any discussion on this?
Yes, this is Mary Layton. I just like the idea that there will be 2 of these mobile units that can be moved around. I think 2 is better than 1.
Mr. Chair, may I chime in for a moment?
You may. Please do.
Matthew Romei, Chief of Police. Thank you for taking this up tonight. I just wanted to note that my recommendation was for the other model. I'm happy to kick the ball around, but the other model is a little bit bigger, but it is more robust. It has a longer warranty, a longer data plan, and without getting insanely technical, it's a single pole, which allows us to rotate the sign and not rotate the entire trailer. There's a $50 difference between the units. Just for reference. So if it's all the same, I would rather get the other one. Per my
Could
memo.
you, Chairman Griggs, I have a follow-up question here.
Yes, please.
So I'm wondering, just Chief Romei, could you clarify in our motion, we have 2 Speed Alert 24 combination radar and variable messaging trailers. Is that what you're talking about as your preferred devices or not?
No, ma'am. I would prefer the Wancos. They are, if you're familiar with the orange ones that you see on the interstate everywhere, that's who makes those. They are supported by a single pole, which allows us more flexibility in sighting the trailer, so we don't have to pay exact attention to the alignment with the road. It gives us a little better opportunity to get it farther off the road. It is a bigger sign by about a foot in one direction and 2 feet in the other, but I also I don't think they'll be real garish. We're going to put a little extra in there out of operational funds and get them in blue rather than orange. So I would prefer the Wanco models. They're again, there's only a $50 difference between them. So you'd be talking about a combination of I can't remember, 19.5 each, whatever that turns out to be.
This one's actually much smaller. I did have a, can I have a question? Mr. Griggs?
Yes, please.
So because both were offered as quotes, I did a bunch of learning about them, looking at the different pictures and the different sizing. And I think that first of all, I support this both from a way to calm traffic. I think it's a great idea to have these signs. the mobile speed signs. They're much more in your face than the speed signs that are on the power poles. And I think that you'll see better results. The ability to move them and put them different places is neat. I know the speed alert, the one that was originally asked for, also kind of like flashes blue and white lights at you if you're speeding. I like from the emergency services point of view for us to be able to put these out if roads are closed for, X number of hours, to put out messaging would be super helpful for fire, police, and public works. But I think that when I look at the two different signs, and I acknowledge that this isn't necessarily our thing to comment on, I think that the speed alert is while it's a smaller, that the speed alert is a smaller size, but small is a relative term. It's still, 5 feet across, so my wingspan across, and 2 feet high, and you get three rows of lettering. And the other one is actually 6 feet and then 4 feet high. So it's a significantly larger sign. And so my individual opinion, thinking this through, is that the smaller sign, which is still fairly large, fits in with the aesthetic of a small town, where the larger one, while being bigger, I think it might stand out kind of more than what we want. But honestly, I acknowledge that, we're talking about the financing part of it. And I would not have raised this issue had we not been presented with the two quotes that you looked up. And I think that they both sort of accomplished the same goals. And, but I wanted to add that because if I didn't, then it wouldn't be my opinion. I've seen the Speed Alert 24, the smaller one. I've seen it in small towns as you're entering it. And I find it to be kind of like visually appropriate for small town roads. And the other one, I think, when I look at it, it's pretty big and it's good for larger roads. And I don't know how it would stick out here.
Thank you for that analysis.
Yeah, I have some comments about Jan, you've got your hand up.
Well, I would just like to second what Matt Sweat just said. I think that I support certainly the mobile signs and the entire idea of getting the data and having that resource, but it does seem like a 4x6 sign is just the smaller one seems more appropriate to our town and the size of our roads. So I would just support what Matt said.
I think I thought about that too, and I did a little size analysis myself. And I can tell you, when you drive by the Grange, the pancake thing is 4 feet wide. And I think when you put something outside, it shrinks quickly. So I ended up not being concerned about the size difference personally. But I do worry about wind. Is this thing going to be blown over more easily than a smaller sign? That's sort of a dumb.
Mr. Chair, I don't think you'll have to worry too terribly much about that. We will have to concern ourselves with, we're not going to put it out there when we're expecting the hurricane force winds and things like that. We'll certainly keep them at home for that. They both have 4 outriggers that you use to level the sign. The biggest difference for me, well, there's 2 really big differences for me. One is a single pole versus the double pole of the smaller sign. The single pole allows you to rotate that sign to meet the angle of the roadway. So there's less issue with sighting it if we push it sort of off the roadway. However we can best get the sign deployed becomes less important for the angle, if you will, because we can rotate that sign 360 degrees. The other thing I think that we have to pay attention to with these, the Wanco comes with local service. There's there's folks here that work on them locally, and they have a longer warranty and a longer data service with them as well. So, in addition to them being just a little more robust. And this is the smallest sign in the Wanco inventory, so it's definitely not what you see on the interstate.
I see the photo again. The Wanko. Thank you.
That's fine.
By the way, Mr. Chair, I apologize for appearing as such. The baseball game I was umpiring just got called for lightning, so I was able to step off
Great.
and come visit.
Good work. Yeah, photographs would have been helpful here probably in assessing this stuff, but the numbers are all there.
I don't know if they're not to scale, but the orange one's much bigger than
The orange is larger than the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
And keep in mind, as I
Yeah,
mentioned, we'll be getting them in blue rather than orange.
Okay. Is that the official town color?
Well, it's just they're not as garish.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Matt. So I'm I'm a little agnostic about the size. And I had a question, Matt, and I'm sure this is an obvious one. I'm just completely new to this. I assume these units are pretty well hardened against vandalism and theft, correct?
Yes, sir. They also have GPS tracking, and they link up in real time.
I think they take a picture of you if you're interfering with them.
We don't want a bunch of drunken Dartmouth students making off with this in the middle of the night. That's all.
We have some anti-theft or some theft deterrent things that I would prefer not to terribly talk about in public, but I think we'll be okay.
Thank you for your reassurance, Chief.
All right, so how are we going to do this? We have two options. We have one motion for one option, but we have to decide which option we want the motion to be for first.
I would like to respond. I like the idea of having heard a greater explanation of the two models. I like the idea of the pole where you can change the angle of view. Also, the ability to get local service and have a better warranty. So I would be willing to withdraw my motion for the Speed Alert 24 if it seems as though others would find that helpful.
I think I would find it helpful.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm partial to going with the chief's recommendation.
So shall I withdraw? All right, I move to withdraw my motion to approve expenditure for the Speed Alert 24.
And Gear, do you also withdraw?
You have to agree to that too, Rob.
Yes.
Withdraw.
Yes.
Okay, and then I'm
Okay.
willing to move it again. I'm just going to call it the Wanko model because I don't really. I assume it's also a combination radar and variable messaging trailer, just a Wanko model. Is that
Yes,
fair
ma'am.
to say? Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. I move to approve the expenditure of $37,900.
I think it's 38,000 for the.
Oh, it's 38.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. 38 even?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for that correction. I move to approve the expenditure of $38,000 for the purchase of two Wanko model combination radar and variable messaging trailers as requested in a memo from Police Chief Romei on the 4th of June, 2026, funding to be taken equally from the 2026 and 2027 police operational budget, number 1-5-500204.
Year seconds.
All right. Further discussion? No further discussion. Let's vote. Klassen,
Aye.
Layton,
Yes.
Gear,
Yes.
Sweat,
Yes.
and Griggs is a yes. Great. So can we remotely decide what message goes on there?
You can.
Yes, I can set it from my. You can set it from your phone in Copenhagen.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Thank you. All right, number 8, proposal for reactivation of Article 36 Task Force. Would anyone like to move this?
Let's see, I move to reactivate the Article 36 Task Force for a period of 12 months with the purpose of producing a proposed updated action report for the Select Board. So that's modified slightly from the motion sheet.
Yeah, okay, adding the word updated. All right. And that was gear.
I will
Do I have a
second that. I will second that. Mary Layton.
Yep. Any discussion?
I can embellish that a little bit. A report from the Article 36 Task Force, which is on the website, the town website, recommended specific actions to accomplish the goals of Article 36 from 2019. And some of them may have been changed, not changed, but the technology mentioned may have changed in the 3-4 years since the report, 3.5 years. And so the goal of the task force would be to revisit those and see and update them as need be for consideration.
All right, any other comments?
Yes.
Mr. Lim? Yes, Mary?
So this would be a revival, it would be a working group.
Be a working group,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Or whatever, I guess whatever format it was before, which I think was a working group, yes. Task force, working group.
Right,
meetings will be warned and notes will be taken
right.
and the whole 9 yards. All right.
Yeah.
Any other comments on the select board?
Yeah,
That's a
Matt.
question.
So I think that in the 3 years or in the time period that we have gone through, I think that we're at an exciting period of time where a lot of technologies have matured into their commercial levels, including ride along mowers that are battery powered, pickup trucks that are battery powered. Certainly plug-in hybrids are reliable and a great alternative. I think the idea of putting charging stations at the public safety building and at Public Works could be a great first step into preparing us to do those kind of things as well. I think it's pretty great that we have, I don't know, more reliable and well-tested technologies at this point to choose from. And it seems like we're at the point where we can start doing that. And so I think that I'm looking forward to the revised report. But I see a lot of low-hanging fruit at this point.
Mr. Lamperti.
Hi, everyone. So I think I have a slightly different take on this, which is I'm not sure that, I guess if you want to revive the task force, I would ask that you revive the task force with a modified charge. I don't think we need to take another year to do another report or to update the report. I think if you want to revive the task force, it should be to make specific actionable recommendations for the recommendations that were already in the previous report. So to take it to the next step, I think it's time to actually act on those recommendations, not just take another year to report on them again. So a revised motion that included the words implementation and specific actionable proposals would pique my interest a little more than simply saying that we're going to recreate this task force to do the same thing it already did just because 3 years have passed.
I have
Thanks.
a question about, or a follow-up question, Chairman Griggs.
Yes, Mary.
The motion does say the purpose of producing a proposed action report. Would that capture what Aaron Leopardi is getting at? An action report? Or should we go beyond?
If you're asking me, I would say not an action report, but specific proposals for each item in the previous report. So, and something that the select board could then take up, discuss, and act on, rather than, the sort of broad general recommendations of the original report.
Thank you.
So if I understand this, and I tend to agree with you, we have the Article 36 in place now. So you're suggesting rather than produce a report, we simply make suggestions for actions based on the current report. Move forward.
Yeah,
Given-
I mean, I
given
don't
it's
know that
already
you
there.
need my opinion would be, I don't know if you need a task force to do this, or if this is more of a select board function. But for example, one of the recommendations in the original report was, I don't know, to buy, someone mentioned, Matt maybe mentioned lawn equipment. Well, rather than saying we should go with electric with lawn equipment, the next thing would be to actually instruct the town manager and therefore the DPW to buy lawn equipment, whether that's specific as to a model and brand or not, but actually just take that next action. I don't know that you need a task force to do that. I think you could do that right now. You could put that on your agenda for in 2 weeks, and any one of those things you could take the next step on, and that's what I think it should be done. I don't think we need necessarily a citizen task force will necessarily get us any further, unless the specific charge is we want a proposal on exactly how we're going to do the things that were in the previous report. Then possibly a task force, if it had select board buy-in and select board member, might actually make some progress. Personally, I think you could just go ahead and start doing those things. Well, you can, that's your job. So I would encourage you to do that.
Yeah, Article 36 is there, ready to be acted on.
Good. Mr. Chair, we have Linda Gray
Yes.
and Jack Cushman raised hands.
Yeah, Linda.
Hi, thank you very much. And I want to thank Rob for bringing this forward. And I think he's right that some of the recommendations probably need to be updated. But I tend to then agree with Aaron a bit more that I don't think another citizen group needs to do that process. I think staff can do that. And I want to call your attention to its page 90 in your packet, and there's a concise memo from Harry Falconer, our shared energy coordinator, about details. So I personally would suggest that the right approach would be instruct staff to they can update things. Harry is in a good position to update the recommendations and then just start acting on them. As action items need select board approval, bring it back to you. As they are staff level, just proceed with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Jack.
Yes, thank you. And thanks both to Linda and to Aaron, who, along with me, we were the co-chairs of the Article 36 Task Force a few years ago. And I just think what the select board needs to do is get serious about addressing climate change. Somebody said a few moments ago that a lot of new technologies have come along and that some of them might hold promise for the town. Well, all of the technologies that conserve fossil fuels make more sense now that the fossil fuels have suddenly become double the price again. And so we're not going to hold ourselves to the whims of the oil prices when we decide what to do. We're going to say, we understand in Norwich that the future of the planet is at stake and that the target is to eliminate the combustion of fossil fuels. And we think that we have to do our part. Now, I've heard some talk tonight about lawnmowers. Okay, when we did our work, we consulted the Conservation Commission, and the one recommendation that they made to us was to replace the town's mowing equipment with quiet, efficient, modern electric equipment. And so we did specify that that should be done. And then we came to the select board a couple of years ago and said, you're talking about getting a new sit-down mower. It had to be a zero-turn sit-down mower that would function for the 8 hours a day that we mow our lawns during the season. And they said, that's not available yet. So instead, Mary Layton amended the proposal to say that when one was available, the town would test it, because we knew that one was coming on market by Toro the following year, and we would test it for the next available growing season. And the select board unanimously approved that. The town manager said it would be fine to buy one now. You could always sell it if a better one came along. It'd be a piece of cake. In fact, you had to wait months to get these things. Well, I got myself a picture driving one of these around, but I haven't seen the town test it. I haven't seen anybody pay the slightest attention, even though the select board has already told the town, not under this town manager, this was a while ago, already told the town to go do this. So get serious. We're wasting our time having reports done. These are actions that can be taken now. And I'm happy to help in any way I can, but I wouldn't want to associate myself on the task force as a member of such a task force.
Thank you, Jack. So, Mr. Chair, this is your vice chair speaking. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Right. So I certainly agree that the technology has really proceeded apace since Article 36 was first elaborated. And yes, it's only advisory, and yes, we have spun our wheels a little bit in the aftermath of having this thing, passed by a significant vote. I think 700 to 200 or something. But significant. Yeah. I won't. Sorry, Rob. I didn't mean to put my spot with that. But I think if we look at this in general, there's a lot of upsides to this electronic equipment. And I remember reading a statement by, I think it was the CEO of Home Depot, who predicted that by 2028, I'm guessing from memory here, my computer's dedicated for AV, so I can't check it. By 2028, 95% of all yard equipment sold by Home Depot will be electric. And that's leaf blowers, trimmers, mowers, ride-on mowers, weed whackers, rollers, the whole thing. And that's the CEO of a business that relies on sales of these things. So they must have done their market research. So this is clearly where things are headed. There's obvious benefits for noise. If the recharging and the life cycle of these things out on the work sites has been addressed, and I think it has been. I know the electric lawn, this guy, Matt, I forget his surname, he set up a whole new business in Norwich. He purchased, I think, 7 secondhand stand-on electric lawn mowers and built a whole new business from scratch. Secondhand equipment. I don't know what his outlay was, but innovative young guy, resident in town. Clearly, this is where we're headed. I think it's really exciting. My question is, what's the budget? Like, how do we intervene with equipment, life cycle replacement, new equipment purchase, elective replacement of equipment that's still working, these types of things? And
I'm going to intervene here for a moment. This is all good stuff, but it's not what we've got on the agenda. And I would like this to be on a future agenda. And I think I would really like to see action taken. I've been a proponent of this since I got on the board. So I'm happy to see it coming up. But right now we have a proposal to reactivate the Article 36 task force, which in addition to moving things forward, doesn't strike me as a bad thing. And I wonder if we maybe want to approve that and then come back at our next meeting to approve some other actions, specific actions for moving this forward. Would that make sense, or?
Perhaps in line with the sense of urgency we're being encouraged to embrace.
Yeah. I don't really feel like we have enough data and support in the packet for us to change the motion dramatically. But I think we could produce that for the next meeting perhaps and get this stuff on and get it voted and ask for it to be moved forward. Would that make sense to people?
Sounds reasonable to me.
Yep, yep. If I may, Jack
Yeah,
has got his
please.
hand up.
Jack, yes.
I'm sorry. I wondered why my arm was aching.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, so
Yeah.
my intent with the suggestion to reactivate the task force was intended specifically just to update the summary recommendations for action to make sure that they are in line with technology that exists today and give that impetus to actually do something, as Aaron and Linda and Jack have all said, instead of, oh, that was a lovely report, now we'll move on and ignore all this stuff. So my intent was simply to get the 2022 vintage recommendations updated to the current technologies and require them to be implemented. So if that can occur with tabling this until the next meeting, we can readjust the motion and perhaps nail that down more specifically as creating directly actionable items within a shorter period of time.
Thank you for that.
Well,
Linda, you have a comment?
Yeah, thank you. I would like to suggest that you make a minor change or a simple change to your motion, and instead of asking a task force reconstituted to do that, ask our shared energy coordinator to do that. He's in a perfect position to handle that task. Thank you.
That's good. And
That's a good
the
idea.
memo that was in the memo
Yeah.
that's at the end of the packet outlines a lot of it.
So,
Aaron,
if
Aaron,
I-
you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just want to completely agree with Linda. I think it's a perfect job for Harry, just to go through the previous report, make an actionable proposal out of each of the recommendations, and that should take care of the whole this specific question. Then you can take up each of those proposals as you see fit.
Mhm.
I would have no problem asking to withdraw the motion in favor of taking an action such as having Harry Falconer do the updating.
And I would agree to withdraw my second.
We've withdrawn that.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. So have we withdrawn?
Yes.
All right. And you'd like to put another motion together to,
Give our shared energy coordinator the task of updating the recommendations with contemporary technology and then bringing it before the select board for action, bringing them separately.
all right.
Second, that's a motion. I'd second that one.
All right. So there is no period of 12 months. Any discussion on that? All right, let's vote. Klassen,
Aye.
Layton,
Yes.
Gear,
Yes.
Sweat,
Yes.
and Griggs is a yes. Terrific. I think I would encourage continuing to bring items forward for action. Heat pumps in Tracy Hall, for example, or the other public buildings. Can't hurt to get estimates and proposals, things
There
like
are
that.
8 pumps in Tracy Hall.
I have a question.
Yeah. Yes.
It's just our next item, the data recording request. Could that be incorporated into this review?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. But
So there was a question about whether we could consider it tonight.
Let's.
If we
Okay.
can-
Would you like to make a
There
new motion or include it in the last motion?
I would say perhaps a new motion, but I'm not even sure about the motion. What I'm curious about is the manner in which we direct the town manager to have that data collected. Does that require a motion? If it does, then yes, I could move to do that. I'm not sure if that's a requirement or
Should we just ask the town manager?
What's your goal?
the goal is to have the departments of the town report their fossil fuel consumption and report it to the shared energy coordinator and the energy committee at least quarterly, so that we can track any progress that we have been asked to make on reducing fossil fuel usage by Article 36 in 2019. And so without that data collection, there isn't any real comprehensive way to come up with methodology to see how much we're reducing fossil fuel usage.
All right. So are you asking for the town manager to make a proposal to us about how that could be done?
Yes. And he's got
Okay.
his hand up, so.
Yes. Mr. Town
So,
Manager.
if I may, I think in Harry Falconer's memo that came in and is in the packet, he has suggested as one of his skills or things that he would be able to contribute the ability to work on kind of getting a data set collected. So I guess in my mind, you would have a baseline at some level of where you were with your fossil fuel usage. That might have been conducted back in 2019. I haven't read that report recently. And then I think what Rob is asking is that we would keep some kind of historical track, going out into the future of what our fuel consumption has been. Am I understanding you, Rob, as far as that
Yeah.
is kind of what you're seeking?
Yeah, and where the use is coming from. So diesel fuel for heavy equipment, gasoline for light duty trucks and cars, propane for heating and different departments, etc.
Yeah. So I think we could do this maybe without a motion needed. I think I understand what we're trying to accomplish. Why don't I have a conversation with Harry about his ability to assist with that, which I believe he's offered his assistance, and then come back in a future meeting and say, here's a proposal for how this could work and how we'll do this, kind of data tracking going forward.
My hope was that July 1st, we can start compiling that data. So for the fiscal year 2027, we would have a good starting point.
Yeah, I think that makes sense
back.
to start at the beginning of a fiscal year. Sure.
So it may not require a motion then.
Aaron, you have your hand up.
Yeah, can I just throw out the idea that this be put into some format that can be reported on the website so that so it's transparent to the town, and maybe we need an Article 36 tab, but something that allows people to actually engage with this data, not just, because I know it's already exists in the sense that the bills are sitting there in filing cabinets and whatnot, but something that's actually transparently reported to the town would be great.
Mhm. Okay, Linda.
Thank you. And just a very quick logistical note, I just want to let you all know that Harry is on vacation until next Tuesday. So just to be forewarned
course.
that it will take a few days till you can get rolling. Thank you.
Thanks for the notice. Appreciate that. All right, are we ready to move on then? Do we feel like this is resolved sufficiently for this week?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, pressure has to stay on if something's going to happen. Great. Where are we now? Review and approval of Sullivan Powers and Company PC audit scope and objectives. We have information in the packet that seems to satisfy the questions we had. Is there a motion on this?
I move to approve the Sullivan Powers and Company PC audit scope and objectives.
Second.
I'll second that. Brendan Klassen?
Awesome. Discussion. Any discussion?
I have Sweat has a discussion item. I think that it was right. Someone suggested, it might have been Cheryl last meeting, just that there might be value to having the select board receive the draft audit. And I questioned that value, and I've been thinking about that more, and I think it might be helpful. I don't know, that's not part of this motion here, but the audit's fairly dense, and even getting to read through the draft audit just gives us more time to digest most of the material. And then when we read the final, if some things have changed, that's fine, we can note that. But getting it in its draft form when it's distributed to all the contributing parties, I don't see how it could hurt with the select board members. And so I would be in favor of that.
All right, that is how it's written. So under general conditions, a draft of the audit will be submitted for your review prior to its, your meaning us, because we're hiring them. So that should be able to happen. Okay.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Chair, absolutely. I think
Yeah.
the select board is tasked with identifying the organization to conduct the audit, and the contract is directed to us as the requester. So
Yeah.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Great.
And also, the other thing in the statutes is that we as the select board are charged with disseminating the audit eventually in due course to the public at the appropriate juncture.
Yes.
Well, then it just
The
goes,
town
it goes
work
back.
I know, but yeah, that's what the statute says. It's a bit stiff and formal, but it's there.
All right. Any further discussion?
There's a comment, public comment.
Yes, Cheryl.
Yeah, hi, thanks. I wasn't able to read a lot of the packet material before this meeting.
is Cheryl Lindbergh.
Cheryl
just to identify
Lindbergh,
it.
yes,
Yeah,
Cheryl
thank you.
Lindbergh, resident. How about that? Sorry. Was there any timeline established to complete the audit by?
So
Yes, Cheryl, thank you. I raised the point that it would be nice if we could receive it maybe a number of weeks, maybe a month sooner than normal, but it was very loosey-goosey. That's, I think, the only time.
earlier the better.
Earlier the better. And
Yeah. So,
I don't remember a specific date though.
and that's not actually what we're talking about here. So
Well,
I think that is something we can push for.
What I was asking was, did they identify a deadline for submitting it to you? in that RFP document? That was my question.
Cheryl, I don't see a deadline.
Okay.
I
Well,
wasn't focused on that.
it's been several years. It seems like it could happen a little sooner. That's just an opinion I have, but thank you.
I think Cheryl has a good point. The sooner the better.
Interesting. So there's no timeline. I wonder if there's a reason for that.
I think because there's a lot of moving parts, but could we ask in the town manager, like in behind the scenes, what has been affected in the timeline? If we could ask Brennan.
You're asking why we're getting the audit after the first of the year in some cases?
Yeah, is there anything, like you've worked with them and Barry has worked with them, and my impression is, at least from last year being on the select board, that Barry provided them with lots of information early on, and that we had, I don't know, little leverage to force them to get it done much quicker. But I was wondering what your impression or your experience was.
Well, I think it's varied from year to year. I think the first year when I came on and I started in 2022, that was just a lack of having anybody to help them put their auditing materials together at the end of the fall. So I think we, if I remember, didn't even get that into the town report. We had to print that out separately because of the timing. The last 2 years, I think, have been smoother as far as, having stability in the finance office and having a director who was able to assist them in finding the information that they sought for the audit. And I think that, we won't have Barry this year, obviously, for this next audit for fiscal year 26. So Jonathan is going to have to learn the ropes there, and I'm sure we'll have some guidance from the auditors as far as how he can be prepared to help them get through it. So I guess that's been my experience. They are busy. There's a limited amount of municipal auditors, I think, in the state and in the region, and so I'm sure they're doing multiple other towns at the same time that they're focusing on Norwich, and that probably contributes to not being able to maybe specify an exact date that they would have a audit report or a draft audit report submitted to the town. I guess I would say this, we can certainly let them know that, as we did last year, that we would like to have this at the earliest possible opportunity and see what we get as far as a timing.
So Brennan, this is Brennan Klassen here. When we missed the deadline of getting, I guess it was the 2022 audit into the 2023 town meeting, was that sort of more on us, or was it on Sullivan Powers and Company?
No, it was on the town. That was
us. Okay.
Right.
Time of great turmoil.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. I wasn't sure. Okay, that's good. And in the ensuing 2 years, so for this year 26, for the 25 report and the previous year, what were the dates they came in at for those 2 years? Just the last two?
I don't know that off the top of my head. I know it was after the first of the year in both counts.
Right. Is that kind of putting pressure on us?
It's hard because we don't have actuals for,
as we talked about in a previous meeting, I mean, it would be nice to have those in December so that we would have actual numbers from the year before as we kind of finalize the budget. But again, I don't know, in this iteration of our agreement with Sullivan Powers, which ends this year, this will be their last year kind of under their 5-year contract with the town, that we can tell them this year we demand that we have this on December 1st. I don't think that's reasonable. So if we put out an RFP, which we'll need to do for auditing for future years, I think we could conceivably build that into our request, is that we would ask the audit be presented, and pick a date before the first of the year.
Yeah, or just figure out what the timeline deliverables are. If we provide them with all the information they need by X date, can they do their best to return an audit to us by Y date. I don't know how it works.
Well, there's a 45-day deadline before town meeting, right? Am I right or wrong here? I don't know.
Well, there's production of the town
Yeah,
report
there's a timeline that goes back from town meeting day to when you have to have a town report published, and usually our audit is placed in the town report. So that's the timing I think you're mentioning, Brendan.
Right. Okay. Good.
I
Okay.
think our chair has his hands up.
I do, both hands.
Both
Yeah,
hands.
I guess what I wonder if I'm trying to establish a timeline with someone, I'd send them a polite letter just telling them we'd really love to have this by a certain date. What would they require from us in order to allow that to happen? And then they can get back to you. And if they can't do it, they can't do it. But you politely ask and then offer to help them get there. See, maybe they could respond to that.
Well, I can say that Barry and Jonathan are going to go and meet with Sullivan and Powers and introduce Jonathan and have a discussion about this year's process and the timing. So I would suggest I will let them know. They'll be watching this tape, I'm sure, but let them know that could be something to discuss while they're having that conversation. Is it possible to get this earlier? Is there something the town can do to get you materials sooner than we have in past years? And we can see what they respond to there.
So, Brennan, stepping back a little bit, Mr. Chairman, if I may. In your experience, this is the end of the 5 years, right? With Sullivan?
Right.
The last year. Yeah.
This is the last year. So
fiscal year 26 will be the audit that they perform under their original contract. Yes.
Yeah. So based on, obviously, the satisfaction level and feedback from your finance department, would you be, and if it's too early to say, just let me know, would you be in favor of renewing the contract or switching vendor?
We're getting beyond the scope of this. That's not what we're talking about tonight. We're just trying to figure out whether we can review and approve this.
Yeah, you're just being asked to sign the engagement letter tonight. This is simple.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
Thanks. It's 2:15 in the morning here, so I'm trying to
move along.
That's incentive.
Came out, have another Carlsberg.
Yeah, not to force anybody. Is there any other discussion on this?
Nope.
No.
Oh, okay, great. Let's vote. Klassen.
Aye.
Layton.
Yes.
Gear.
Yes.
Sweat.
Yes.
Griggs says a yes. Terrific. Go sign this thing. All right. Next is town manager goals. We have a couple of things. I put in a sort of synopsis from some of the other information I had. And we got a missive from our town manager. I think I feel there's been sort of a big misunderstanding here, and I'd like to clarify it. Trying to find my, of course I can't find it. In the town manager's letter, I think there's a misunderstanding. We aren't asking for any changes here. I think all we're doing is trying to catch up with something that hasn't been done, I think, properly, which is the setting of goals. We're required, according to your contract, to set goals every year, and we haven't done that. Obviously, we also have to evaluate, but the setting of goals comes first, and it's a separate thing. And so my hope was we could do that and find out what goals were important to you and what you'd like to do for the town and what you think. Sorry, I've lost my document here. Somewhere in here. And I can't find it. But I don't. Do other people have comments on this process?
I have a comment.
Yes.
It's Mary Layton.
Yes, Mary.
I have very mixed feelings about how our process has been going. I know it's past 2 in the morning where you are. I'd just like to
that's
table,
okay.
like to table it
Oh,
till the next meeting.
okay. Huh. Well, um,
I don't know how others feel.
What, would you like the chairman to be here or is it something else?
Yeah, I'd like the chairman to not be up at 2 in the morning when we're talking about this.
oh,
I mean,
I'm fine, but yeah.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
But I
I just-
appreciate that.
How long do we have assigned for this?
20 minutes.
Of course.
But if others want to discuss it, I do have opinions, but I don't want to go on too long about it. So it just depends on what we all want to do.
It's difficult because we always seem to be mid-cycle. Like we're always
Thrash.
out of cadence here.
Mhm.
There's the appointment date, September 27th, I think. And then there's the switch over the select board, March
Mhm.
3rd, 4th. And we seem to be always falling between the cracks of those two dates and kicking the can down the road.
Mhm.
So, Mary, I hear what you're saying, but part of me is I'd like Chemo to be here and maybe should we have done more preparation? I don't know. But I'm reluctant to kick it down the road more because
Okay.
it always kind of keeps,
Morphing and getting kicked anyway.
it's always being put in the too hard basket.
It is hard.
Yeah, well, I don't actually think it's hard. When I was in high school, somebody probably asked me what my goals were, and I might have said becoming a silversmith and getting into college, right? I had 2 goals, just general, not metrics. I achieved one of them, but not the other. But my objectives were to do well in class and gain skills as a craftsman, right? So goals were just these sort of wonderful general things that I was aiming toward. And I think that's what we're after here. This has gotten into a sort of morass that is not at all what I had intended and is completely unnecessary. I was evaluated on my work, of course, through grades and stuff. But again, that was different than the goals. And the contract is very clear. Annually, the board and employees shall define such goals and performance objectives which they determine necessary for proper operation of the town, attainment of the board's policy objectives, to further establish a relative priority among the various goals and objectives, and said goals and objectives shall be reduced to writing. There is nothing in there about evaluation. That comes later. So I don't know why this is hard. Goals should be kind of inspiring, I think, and kind of a generous rendering of your thoughts and ideals, and then we're done. Then we get to build the objectives, the goals, other performance into our evaluation later in the year. So if you were to set goals for a town manager in a town like Norwich, I guess I'm really interested in what they would look like. That's it. Nothing complicated. So,
well, I think, Chemo, in support of the select board individual members, we all submitted our goals several months ago, right?
Mm.
And I think each of us spent quite a few hours deliberating and thinking individually. And then you were able to collate all the contributions and distill them all into one. So I think we've sort of done our part in many respects. I know I thought very carefully about, objectivity and having it as little subjective as possible, because the last thing, obviously goals gates evaluation. There's no goals, no evaluation, because you've got nothing to work on, right? And it can't just be, oh yeah, got on well, did some good stuff, end of story. It needs to be a bit more
Civic.
granulated than that, right? And I'm a creature of corporate America. I spent a quarter of a decade in the corporate sector. So this is what's flavoring my contribution, for better or for worse. Rob and Matt and Mary had different angles, different, particularly Mary as an educator. She's coming at it from a very different place of, hard graft corporate America. So her contribution was necessarily very different to mine, but they're both good. So I think what's important here is that we collate and distill, pick the real beneficial meat out of each individual's contribution. I think Rob made some good points as well, and certainly Matt. And I just don't see these contributions kind of really shining individually, co-equally in the final document that I've seen so far. I know you've done a great job to try and collate them, and I think your document's perhaps very lengthy and very wordy, and it's got a lot in it. But I would just like to see that, each of us 5 members have had their petitions read, acknowledged, and ideally incorporated. And if there's some stuff that's way offbeat, way crazy, like, move Tracy Hall 200 feet to the west, that's absurd. But there's some stuff I think that's really good from all of us. So that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah. Okay. We've got town manager's got his hand up.
So I guess I've been equally frustrated kind of with how the process has gone. And I wrote the memo that was in the packet for tonight, really trying to get some sort of sense from the majority of the board of what we're doing here. I know there was an exercise at the beginning of the process where all the select board members were kind of asked to write down, bullet points or ideas of select board goals and then town manager goals. And it's very hard, I think, to collate, 50 different ideas or however many there were that came out of the 5 select board members' efforts into like meaningful goals that we could employ here. And then I tried to capture in my memo the idea that if we want to do this, I don't know how we possibly do it and set up brand new goals in June with an evaluation that happens in September. I think that is like my key concern right now, is that certainly doesn't give me any time to work to accomplish goals that have just been set in a 2 or 3 month period. So I advocated in my memo that we come up with something very similar to what we had in place for last year, so that there is something to be, I guess, evaluated on when we get to September, and that we use the next 3 months and maybe we donate a month or a meeting a month to trying to work through this. I guess I'm a little uncomfortable, Chemo, putting goals out there that are going to be used for an evaluation without knowing what the objectives are that go with those and what the evaluation criteria is that goes with them. Like, to me, it should be done in tandem in some way so that these are, I feel like I'm coming off often as being defensive about this, and I don't want to. I want to be kind of working together with the board, but I think this is just very difficult. And I have heard, from colleagues that have been here, a decade or so, that this has always been difficult. That, it's not unique to this year. The 2 years prior, it was kind of a difficult thing to work through, and it took a number of meetings to get to the place we were with a template that everybody had agreed to and goals and performance objectives that everyone had agreed to last year. And now it does sound like at least you're advocating for making some radical changes here to what we've been doing.
Okay. When you're done, I'd like to respond.
That's fine. So I guess, yeah, I also want to be cognizant that this is getting picked up in the local press with headlines that we're butting heads or at odds, and I don't know that it should be that way. I think there is probably again, with some time and thought, a way to work together to come up with new goals for the coming year, and to give me as the manager who's charged with accomplishing those goals a meaningful time to do it. I guess that's my main point.
Okay, well, I haven't proposed changing anything. As far as I'm concerned, we can continue to use the same form for your evaluation. I haven't changed that. I haven't suggested otherwise. What your contract asks for is that we set goals together. After that, it talks about your evaluation. So it first starts with goals. I'm just looking to talk about goals. And all I'm looking for is ask you, tell the town, tell me what your goals are. That's it. Like, I've written some things, management, communication, the town, reporting as a sort of starting point. And I'm asking you to respond in kind so that together we can set some goals. It doesn't sound complicated or difficult. I don't think dividing the board, as your letter does, is a useful exercise. I want to get away from that. I'm making a suggestion and I'm trying to satisfy your contract. You didn't ask for goals to be set last year. And so here we are. We haven't got any goals set for this year. That's not going to keep us from evaluating you. There's plenty to evaluate you on, tasks and whether you've done your job well and all that. But what are your goals? What do we get from you? Is a legitimate question, and I don't think a hard one. That makes sense.
And I guess I would answer that, Chemo, and say, if you look at the template that was created with the goals that are on there that were kind of carried over from last year, I mean, those are the things that I think are good goals. I think keeping the town running and managed in a well-run operation is something that can be analyzed and evaluated. I think, responding to disasters was put on there after much consideration, and that takes a lot of time and effort to go into it. And the town managers might have different aptitudes at doing that. So again, I feel like the template we have now, the evaluation form, is a good one that came out of a lot of thought and a lot of work. And the goals that are on that evaluation form are still reasonable and solid goals that were approved, by a select board last year. And, we missed the deadline, or we missed the timing of trying to do this, last fall. I think we're not going to make that mistake again. Clearly, we're all aligned on that. But yeah, to me, that some of those things are still going on, right? I mean, a lot of the Tracy Hall work that I've proposed in my revised version that I had sent out several meetings ago, looks at the things I was tasked with doing last fall, right? Looking at the roof repair, looking at the elevator, putting, investment into our infrastructure at Tracy Hall. I had added working on the DPW facility plan that we've talked about. Like, that to me is a goal, right? That's something that's attainable that I can work on with our DPW director and bring back hopefully to the select board at some point between now and September. And you can say, yeah, this was well done. We have some action here that we could take. So again, you're kind of saying, well, I'm not willing to change anything. I don't think that's true. I think it's a matter of I don't want to make changes that I think are unsound, like ideas that I don't agree with. I feel like I have an obligation to tell you that. And as far as dividing the board, that's not my intent, but there are 5 members of this board. I've heard from Mary. I really actually would like to hear from both Matt and Rob about how they feel about where we are right now in this process.
I'm ready. Kilo,
Go
can I
ahead.
talk?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you. So I agree that that the town manager's next set of goals should be set right after we do his evaluation in September, going forward from there. And I think we're all in agreement in that, and like that is a good positive step forward from where we were last year. And I also have been reflecting on, I think that goals like what you put in the packet, I read through and think that it is a really good description of kind of like what's expected out of the job, but might be, if you're looking at SMART goals or whatever the acronym is, they're not, what you put together is not really as measurable, like it doesn't really fit into the SMART goals, but it's still valid to, provide overall, like, how do you do your job well? And if the reason that we're doing this evaluation is to literally just give him input to do better, what things he did well and what things he can improve. And it's a personal growth, thing as far as I'm concerned, not a way to kind of beat someone down. It's to try to keep moving forward in positive ways. It struck me that the evaluation form that Brennan that he kind of updated in the April 22nd packet, when I look through it, I look at a form that I think, at least 5 select board members in the past said, this is good enough. Let's use this for now.
It's practical.
And so using this format for his evaluation in September seems like the best thing that we can do right now. And I like the idea of dedicating a certain amount of time at each meeting to creating a new form or modifying this old form so that we're ready to really hit the ground running with his next evaluation, criteria and goals in September. I would say that what Brennan proposed as additions or modifications to the current one, seemed good. And there might be a couple more smaller tweaks, or maybe if we have 3 months or so, maybe adding a goal or two that is achievable and fair to add, like maybe investigate the 3 things that we can do to improve our energy efficiency, or just literally figure out like what mower to buy. Like maybe though that fits into the SMART goals that we can add to this already established, evaluation packet as a goal. Or improve. I know that we have a capital budget policy that requires that the select board and the town manager review our capital budget plan every year and update it every year, and everyone's on board with this. And we haven't done this in past years. And so we've done parts of it, but not all together. And so maybe like beginning that process in the next 3 months ahead of our budget season, in a small way, gets us one step forward to a really robust, budget presentation when it comes up in October. I see smaller sort of goals at this point might be reasonable to add to the existing packet if we all agree on it, if the town manager agrees on it, if all 5 of us agree on these small additions. That seems to, in my mind, that takes us from here to September. And in parallel, I like the idea of saying, all right, so how do we make this the way we want it, the way everybody wants it, when we restart everything and are creating one in September that's going to last the whole year. I hope that was some sort of answer.
And what about Rob?
Yeah, so I haven't reviewed the evaluation form. And so what I would hope to see there is the evaluation sticks to
Did we lose audio?
Yes,
I can't hear anybody.
Brendan's,
I can't hear anybody.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so what I was saying was I think that the evaluation form, which I haven't had a chance to review since getting on the board, I think that needs to contain whether or not the town manager is meeting the professional standards of the job, adhering to the law, and being able to accommodate whatever unique characteristics the town of Norwich has. Continuing requirements, perhaps with a subsection of anticipated challenges that will come in the coming year. So in September, what we know we're going to be faced with challenges, concrete things in the year going forward that the performance can be measured against. But I have troubles with number one, micromanaging, setting goals that are micromanagement commands, and number two, having too loose an interpretation of, what sort of deep inner goals should the town manager have towards benefiting the town of Norwich. That as has been mentioned, is impossible to evaluate. And so I have difficulty specifying that as a goal for the town manager. And I think the initial goals that I put together way back when sort of were concise and were what an employee should be measured against for the minimum qualifications of the job. But adding, you have to have this, we have to make Norwich a happy place for one group of people or another. That kind of a specificity which doesn't make a lot of sense. So I like the idea of discussing how to put these goals together so that come September, when we do the evaluation on existing formats, we have the tools to say, this next year, this is what we're looking for. These basic professional requirements, plus these additional goals of making sure that there are no roadblocks in moving forward on Tracy Hall renovations or something like that. Just making sure that can happen efficiently. Those are measurable. And they point to how the town manager can recognize what the expectations of the select board are. So as far as the specific aspect, I think it's a conversation that we need to come back again with new summaries of what individual goal ideas are and hash that out with the town manager on the way to September.
Could I add a comment?
Sure.
Chairman Griggs, I'm just thinking back to sort of Brennan's tenure and thinking about what Rob said about ongoing professional requirements and, management skills, which I think are reflected in the contract and in the evaluation document. So I would think that besides the usual management goals that are ongoing, two areas that were critical when Brennan came on were personnel, which is a complete disaster. When Brennan came on, he completely stabilized that situation. And the other thing was unexpected disasters. And both of those are reflected in the contract and the evaluation. And I think, I don't know about disasters, but personnel, I think is much, much smoother than it should be. But there might be other critical way of thinking. We have with the planning commission, a lot of thinking, how does the village going to look? How is the bike and pedestrian going to look? So we might be, our critical sort of focus might be on our infrastructure and how it's communicated, something like that, like sort of a, an intense focus that's sort of coming up inevitably, because personnel came up inevitably and so did disasters. So like what's coming, bubbling up from below. And also, I think maybe at some point we could decide whether we wanted to have the SMART framework for goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. And that might narrow down, if we have some global idea of where the town's headed, narrow it down, because it's too broad now. It's too broad. We take all of our ideas. It's sort of like having 5 cooks in the kitchen.
It is.
One makes a souffle, one makes a soup, and one makes spaghetti and meatballs. And if you mix that together, that's like garbage. You know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to do it that way.
Confusing, at least. Yeah. Yeah, I liked, Rob touched on a very important piece that I think I might have actually kind of missed in my submission. I think, Rob, if I hear you correctly, you're talking a lot about behavioral goals, like professional conduct, the way you go about working, the way you interact with staff, the whole behavioral thing, which is not like fixing Tracy Hall in the next 7.5 months.
Right.
It's a little more difficult to metric those things, and it's always just inherently going to be more subjective. But I think it's a good thing, and that should roll through the whole year.
Yeah.
So behavioral goals can be judged after 6 weeks, 6 months, 12 months. But fixing the road holes and moving the bridge and Tracy Hall, that's not fair to do something now expecting September review. That's
Right.
That's ridiculously not time bound. It's unrealistic and unfair.
You could do progress, but not.
Yeah, you could do some lower hanging stuff, like Matt was alluding to this. Like, I don't know, Matt, you want to?
I mean, it's also not bad. Like, it's also fair to evaluate him on stuff he's done over the course of the year.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, that
like,
goes.
Yeah, it's on initiative.
Getting the roof fixed and getting the heat stuff in and like all that kind of stuff is like, should be retroactively put on the evaluation.
Of course. Yeah.
I do worry a bit about the limiting the concept of the behavioral aspect of it. Behaving as a professional versus not going beyond that, just what your behavior is your management style. If it falls within the range of professional management, then that's his style. And whether it works well with the town or not, that's potentially a question for contract renewal.
Yeah.
More than just evaluation.
Certainly management style is reflected in, recruitment and retention. So
I'm going to interject here.
Yep.
Because we're spending a lot of time talking about evaluation, and that has never been on the agenda. We've only been talking about goals, but it keeps coming back to evaluation. And we will get to evaluation. Evaluation is important, and we have many ways to evaluate, including the existing form. I'm not rejecting that. I'm just trying to talk about goals, which we have never discussed, like overarching goals. That is what our contract requires us to do. I'm not making this up. This is not about me. That is the wording of the contract, is that we will set goals together. We will also evaluate, but evaluation covers many things, probably doesn't cover most of the goals. The goals are an overarching, this is where we want to head. And then you have all the tasks and you have the professional stuff. You have communication. Those are easy to evaluate. So I would love to just finish the goals and then move on to evaluation and other things personally. But we keep coming back to evaluation, and certainly the things are related, but that is not our primary job here, I don't think. I don't know. Does everybody disagree with me? Or I know, yes, town manager.
So what you just said really didn't make any sense to me, Kimo, because you're talking about broad-based overarching goals, which, by definition are not SMART goals, right? That is not what we're
Well,
talking about.
they can be.
Okay. And then you're saying that the evaluation piece follows that. Like, again, to me, as the person here who would be evaluated, I want to know what those objectives are to get to those goals and how that's going to be evaluated before we agree to them. Like that to me, we can't just say, okay, the goal is to go to college. Okay, well, how does that happen? What college do you go to? How did you get into that college? Like that was your example from the beginning, right? College and a metalsmith. Like those are very, very broad and very, very hard, I guess, to quantify and evaluate. And again, I guess maybe we spent probably 20 minutes on this already tonight again, and we've spent a lot of time over the last 3 months talking about it. I mean, Rob, I would ask that you do read the current iteration of the draft of the evaluation and goals that I provided for the prior packet. And maybe we come back at the next meeting and talk about whether there is an agreement by, again, the majority of the board that we can move forward with something here and that we then give ourselves another couple months to work through whatever this is going to look like for the coming year.
I see Peter
Okay.
Orner.
Peter Orner, yeah. Peter?
Oh, hi. I just, as a member of the Peanut Gallery, I just wanted to weigh in. And this is a fascinating discussion, and I don't quite understand it. It seems to me that, that the town has certain expectations, and that that some of those expectations are being met and some of them aren't. And I think that it's fair of the select board to raise these issues whenever, and that's your all jobs. But I get that you have to have some kind of meeting of the minds with the town manager on the relationship between the goals and the evaluation. My 2 cents is picking up on something that Mary said about pedestrian and walkability. This is something the town has been asking for years and years and years. And I think it's incumbent on the select board and the town manager to start implementing a plan to make this town more walkable and make it safer to walk. We put in, and to Brennan's credit, a pedestrian walkway on Beaver Meadow, but then weirdly, there's signs that tell pedestrians to go another way. So there's kind of a disconnect. And so I'd like more consistency and more effective implementation of walkability. Whether you call that a goal or something evaluation, I don't know. But I just wanted to throw that out there because Mary mentioned it. And, I think I just want to commend Brennan on his communication. Sometimes some of us, like me, have a lot of questions, and Brennan is always responsive, and I really appreciate that.
Thanks, Peter. Town manager, you're muted.
I just want to explain the signs because I've heard Peter mention this a number of times. And the idea of the pedestrian signs sending people around Huntley Circle there is to keep people from walking along that dangerous stretch of Beaver Meadow Road. But we have on the west side of Beaver Meadow Road created that same kind of British pathway, and that would allow somebody to get to the playground and the pizza oven if they so chose. So I hope that makes sense. Like we're not telling people you can't go that way, but we also don't want them to get on that side of the road at the pizza oven and be like, okay, now what do? I got to walk along this narrow, busy street with no shoulder. Does that
I
make
take
sense?
your point. It's a little confusing, that's all, but I take
Fair,
it.
fair enough. Yeah, but that was the intent.
All right. Any more discussion at this point on
I
goals?
have one more comment.
Please. Yeah.
I believe when, Timo, when you were speaking with, Brennan, you mentioned something about the town manager dividing this board, and I just don't agree with that statement. I don't know if I even understand it, but if on the face of it, I just wanted to say, I don't think that's true of me. I just, it's not my perception.
Okay.
So, and
that's
we
good.
don't have to debate it, but I just
I
wanted
agree.
to put it out
I
there.
agree.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay.
I'm
Thank
glad to
you.
hear that.
Yep.
All right. Any further discussion here about goals? I know last meeting we promised that there'd be statements from the other members coming. So I guess maybe that might or might not happen. And we'll move on.
Well, Mr. Chair, before we go, what's our commitment in terms of evaluation come September? What's our mode of operation for evaluation if we?
Well, we'll put that on an agenda. We'll put that on as an agenda item and talk to probably may require an executive session.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Great. Okay. Move on. Let's approve the minutes, May 27th special and regular meetings. Would anyone like to move this?
Mr. Chair, I don't have hard copies of the May 27th minutes for signature.
No, you won't. You won't get those until next week.
Right. I have May 13th.
That's correct.
Right.
You don't get them to sign until they've been finalized and voted on.
Okay, good.
Which we do tonight. So would anyone like to move the minutes of May 27th?
I move to approve the minutes of the regular select board meeting of May 27th, 2026.
Your second.
And okay. Would anyone like to continue that motion, or is that?
No. Like to do them separately. It's why I said that. So that's why I moved it that way.
All right.
Sorry.
Discussion.
I'm sorry. So
Sorry, Mary.
the chair asked if I wanted to include the other set of minutes. And the way this motion sheet is written there's the regular select board meeting and then a special one. I just wanted to have separate motions for each. So that's why I stopped in the middle
Okay.
of
Fair
the sheet.
enough.
And
All right.
so the first one mentioned is the regular select board meeting, which is the one that I moved.
Any
And there's
discussion?
a second.
Any discussion?
This was the 13th.
May
Yes, town
27th.
manager.
Thanks. So I just had two things here that I noted. Under the town manager report, there's something that the language reads, supporting the response to a request for petition from the United Federation of Police Officers who are seeking to replace the NEPBA. And I don't know if that could be just modified as far as the wording. In reading that the way it's crafted, it looks like I'm supporting that the UFPO supplant the NEPBA, and I want it to be very clear in the minutes that we're not doing that. We're just allowing this petition to move forward, which is a legal process that we were not going to oppose that. But I wanted to be clear that there's no support from the town manager for either of these unions to be maintained or supplant the other.
Makes sense. I just meant like supporting the logistical response, but understood.
Yeah, maybe there's just another word or two that could get added just to make it a little more clear there.
Okay, that would be an amendment.
Yeah,
So-
I guess that would be a minor amendment.
All right, should I withdraw to include this amendment then?
I withdraw my second.
Okay, so I withdraw the
All right.
first motion. Are there other amendments though?
Well, I just had one other thing that I went back and I watched the tape because I wanted to make sure I was remembering it correct. So I believe we did not tackle the item 10, the department reports at the last meeting. I'm not sure why. I think got skipped over. But in the minutes, it just says department reports see above, which would refer them to the town manager's report. And I think normally we have at least an acknowledgement of other reports have been submitted. Sometimes we talk about the financial reports. But again, in the tape that I reviewed just to make sure I was remembering it correct, I don't think we ever did that. So I don't know if that should just be amended to say department reports were skipped over or were missed.
This has been done historically as well. Like, I don't know if you guys want to just like not include department reports as an agenda item, since I'd always just kind of assumed that they were wrapped in with the town manager report because they're often not actually included in what's discussed.
Yeah, I mean, my memory historically is that we stop on them and we say, okay, we had 3 or 4 different reports from different departments. Sometimes we talk about the financial report that comes out, but again, I think we just skipped over it by accident, maybe last meeting.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I didn't either. I did go back and watch the tape just to make sure we didn't do it and I just forgot about it. But I didn't see us tackle that agenda.
Okay, well, what motion are we making here?
It's getting a little bogged down. So if we did not review the department reports, what's to amend?
Well, maybe again, it says see above, which references it to the town manager's report, which I don't think is
Recap. Oh,
appropriate, right? It didn't. That's not what we did. We could just say department reports were skipped, I guess, or were not discussed.
They were in the packet, so
Just information only, no discussion. Is that what we put?
Could be no discussion.
No discussion would be accurate.
But they're in the packet, right?
Right.
Yeah, I
So
think that would make sense to me. Just no discussion is fine.
Okay, I don't know if I can recap the amendments. I could try it. Let's see. I move to approve the minutes of the regular select board meeting of May 27th, 2026 as amended to state that the town manager reported about the, how am I going to phrase this? An alternative venue for union organization for police and DPW. Is that fair?
Well, I think it could be as simple as was not opposing the petition instead of supporting. So the town is not opposing the
Or it's neutral.
petition.
It's neutral.
Yeah.
Town is neutral on the petition. And then there was no discussion of department reports. Okay, that's it.
Okay, second.
Any discussion?
Selectman Sweat with a sense
All right.
of relief.
We're going to vote. Klassen?
This is for the regular, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I vote aye.
Gear?
Yes.
Oh, Leighton?
Yes.
Sweat?
Yes.
Griggs is a yes. All right, would you like to move the special select board meeting?
I approve the minutes of the special select board meeting of May 27th, 2026 as presented.
Second?
Year second.
All right. Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Vice Chair.
I'm looking that obviously in adherence with executive session policy, that the forerunner to this, the statement was that no decisions would be made in the executive session, but it would simply be an engagement with the attorney using the town council to advise the select board about potential future actions. And no formal or binding actions would take place during the session. And more importantly, it will be limited in topics, so only the topics previously identified will be discussed. And that's certainly the case. I think that the limitation of the topics was absolutely correct. But my recollection, and I'm not sure if I'm getting this correct, but my recollection was, and I asked my colleagues here to clear this up. My recollection is that we were having a backwards and forwards with the attorney and the town manager, and there was, I think, the attorney's manager on the call as well. So we had some significant legal input. Obviously, I'm not going to discuss any subject matter that's entirely inappropriate to reveal what was done within an executive session. But my understanding was that at one point we explored and actually sort of took a straw poll that steered us or seemed to be steering us towards a decision-making outcome. And I'm just not quite clear. I'm a bit conflicted here. Can we actually say, like the hypothetical, was any individual assigned an action item to move forward with an action on either of the topics we discussed? Because I have a feeling that I think we may have done that. And there was an actionable item that we might expect to have been operated on going forward. And
Was there, you're talking about a motion after we came out of executive session?
that would an instruction for either the case manager, in this case, the town manager, or the attorneys to move forward on an action.
But you're talking in public session.
No. In the executive session, but not disclosed in public. That's what's concerning me.
I see.
And I think there were two topics, and I have to be very careful here. One was the notice of OML violation filed back in February, the Katuki OML, which we've all agreed the violations and the cures, and we're moving, I think, fairly well along the road with that. I think that was good. But the second one was the Public Records Act request. And it's related, but it's a separate issue. And my recollection is that we took some positions that could well be sort of construed as decision-making outcomes. One of which, the first one, I think was perhaps logical and sensible. I won't say what it was or is. And the second one, I had more concerns with, but that's sort of irrelevant. I think the sense is that I have that we made some pretty definitive calls. Now, exactly what action items were communicated, what deliverables are expected, and what is going to be produced as a result of that process.
Right.
And that's just something I'm a little bit concerned about. Rob, did you want to?
I don't believe, yeah. Well, let Brendan go first.
I guess I'm just unclear what this has to do with the minutes being approved.
I wouldn't want the minutes to be an unfaithful recollection of what we discussed.
So I don't,
Oh, go ahead.
I don't believe that any direction, any actionable direction was decided by the board. And a straw poll is treading along the edges, but outside of the area of concern. That's my opinion. And I think that's the opinion that's generally accepted. But so
Yeah, my understanding of the legal part of action, no action was taken, was that there was no motion and no vote.
Right.
And that, when you're meeting with, in the past, when we've met with lawyers for other cases, they outline sort of like the positives and negatives of the case, the possible ways to move forward. And then we might give directions on, our preferences for, moving forward in X, Y, and Z path. But it's not the formal action taken. And being new to the, like, I'm assuming, I'd love, a little bit more legal advice on what action taken means. But that was always my assumption, was that we don't vote on anything we don't vote, there's no motions, we don't take a formal vote behind closed doors. So therefore, we didn't do that, so no actions were taken. That was my understanding of it.
I know
I'm learning everything as we go here.
I know Kimo reached out to Ditzel, Page, and Fletcher today.
Great. And then
Kimo?
Yes. I've had no response. I was curious, but I've had no response, and I'm not ready to change the minutes.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, say again, Kimo?
I've had no response. Did you hear me? Yeah. So I'm not ready to change the minutes, personally, but I can certainly ask if it's a question.
Well, I just don't want the minutes to be sort of an inaccurate representation, because a straw poll is an expression of opinion, and it's not a non-decision decision. It's a decision if something's acted upon as a result of the straw poll. And my recollection was, at least in the first instance, there was a very creative, positive, cost-containing proposal put on the table, which I personally thought.
Brendan, it was an executive session, and telling the world what went on in the executive session is something you want to be very careful about, I think.
Mr. Chair, I was revealing no details. I just wanted to say that the spirit of the decision, with nothing regarding the content. And I thought that was
all right,
assertive and very positive.
Can I say something?
The town manager.
So yeah, I think this has gotten a little bit inappropriate, to be honest. And I mean, the purpose of minutes are to reflect what was said in a meeting. It's not an intent. It's not reading in something that is not being discussed in the public meeting. So I think you should be mindful of that.
But Mr. Town Manager, I do wish to go on record that I have some remaining doubts that decisions which may ultimately come across our table as warrant articles to be approved in future were discussed and decided upon at that meeting. And this is my concern, and it's not inappropriate for me to express these concerns in this forum.
I won't debate it. I think,
Yeah,
again,
noted.
executive session is for a specific purpose of having conversations about things that can't be held in public session. And we also had two attorneys in that executive session who would have quickly reined us back if there was anything improper that was being done.
But the other disappointing
Okay,
aspect.
Okay. But really very specifically, we just have to say, does these minute notes reflect what we said? And I think that they do reflect what we said
In the meeting.
in the meeting. Yes,
I rest my
we do understand.
case.
Any further discussion? No? Let's vote. Klassen? Klassen?
He's thinking.
Ah. Let me move to Leighton.
Yes.
Gear,
Yes.
Sweat.
Yes.
All right, Griggs is a yes. Klassen
Nay.
abstain. Okay.
It's a no.
No.
Nay.
Hey,
That's a
no.
no. Got it. Okay. Thank you. Number 13, AP warrants. Would anyone like to move the AP warrants? We're going to move these and then rescind them because there's a change to be made.
I have a question of point of order.
Yes.
I don't think it's necessary to put, I don't think it's necessary to move something that's inaccurate and then rescind it. I think we can just move to, this is about which account should be.
Yeah.
So I think we can just directly go to the proper wording personally.
Well, it's not supported in the packet. So I think what we need to do is make the motion, discuss it. During discussion, we'll discover that there is a change, and then we can make the proper motion.
But is this actually even published in the packet, or is it just in the motion sheet?
The warrants don't break out the different amounts to be
They don't
reclassed.
reflect?
They don't reflect the reclass,
I see.
I believe.
But the actual warrants that we will sign tonight do? That's
Yes.
another question. And I think the town manager has.
Okay, the town manager has his hand up.
So I think I can hopefully explain this. So the warrants are going to be approved as they appeared in the packet. There was an error that we could talk about at some point. I think, frankly, Kimo, it's better to talk about these things before motions are made. We've had 5 motions tonight that all had to be changed or edited after they were made. It doesn't seem very efficient. But in this particular case, the warrant is going to be paid in the same way. There's going to be a reclassification of something that was pointed out as far as an incorrect coding. But I don't think that requires a motion to be made and then rescinded and then restated.
Okay, we've just spent more time talking about it than it would have taken to just go through the motions. So, Cheryl Lindbergh, you have a comment.
So very briefly, you would have had an addition, Cheryl Lindbergh, treasurer. You should have had another warrant from another reserve fund to approve tonight with an expenditure on that, and one less item on the general fund warrant.
Yes, we agree we should have, but we didn't, and we'd like to approve these payments. So,
Could I make one more comment?
sure.
So in the future, had we been made aware of this issue before I was made aware of it by Matt Sweat this morning, we very easily could have corrected this. And I think that would be a much better process in the future. So if there are errors that are caught from mistakes that are made, which happens, sometimes, if I could be alerted to that as opposed to being blind to this, we probably could have done this a little bit more efficiently earlier in the week.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure when we knew about it. So
You knew about it Saturday, I think.
Okay, I don't know. I've been traveling and not maybe.
So what's the
Okay,
key?
fine.
Mr. Chair, what's the key discrepancy
Right.
here? I'm having trouble following.
Tell you what, Mr. Vice Chair, can I hand the meeting over to you?
Okay.
It's now 3:15 here. I'm ready for bed. This seems like pretty simple stuff. You have the warrants there in front of you.
I do.
And I am going to retire. Thank you, everyone. And Brendan, I sent you the wording for the receipt of correspondence. It's in your email, your select board email.
Right. Receipt of correspondence. Okay.
Yep. All right. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Rest.
So what am I going to do here? I'm going to have to. I take out the screen. We still stay online, right?
Right here.
How's the audio? Gone.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on.
The audio is fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
Oh, thanks, Pam.
But it's through his computer right now, not through the speaker.
That's okay. I think we can finish the meeting if it's through. Yeah. I just got to check my email that Kimo sent me. The wording.
Well, you're in.
Now we've still got them. Yes. Hello, Pam. Can you hear me?
I can. Are you going to go back and finish up the AP warrant before you move to correspondence?
Yes. Oh my gosh, my computer's running out. Okay, so the AP warrant. Can someone just guide me through the discrepancy? Does the general fund?
So what happened, if you look through this,
Yeah.
on page. All right.
Sorry, my computer got suborned to other purposes. So I couldn't check it. I never print stuff out. I go on my screen.
On page 65 of the packet, in the middle, it says Chase Site Services, Mitchell Brook Culvert.
Yep.
And then
5854.
it should be paid out of the designated fund culvert, fund number 54. However, it was miscoded and to an operations line item. And so,
Which is ending 3610.
which is, I already started scrolling. Yes, 3610. So.
Right. So 3610 is wrong.
So then the grand total at the bottom of this warrant of 109,612.63 is not correct to pay the entire amount out of the general fund.
So it should be subtracted by 5854.50.
Yes. So if I could just offer to move this, then you can all discuss it and see whether you're okay with it.
Let's do that.
I move to approve AP warrant 1490 in the amount of 109,612.63 with 103,758.13 to be paid from the general fund, and the Chase Site Service Inc. invoice for the Mitchell Brook Culvert in the amount of $5,854.50 to be reclassified from 01 5703610.00 to the culvert fund account number 54 hyphen 5 hyphen 703322.00 and to be paid from that fund. I think that threads this needle. In addition, I also move to approve AP warrant 1491 in the amount of $238.50 to be paid from the general fund, and AP warrant number 1492 in the amount of $509.94 from the general fund, which are the two, like, perfectly fine.
Right.
So I think that gets us through this.
I think so, but maybe, would we want to wait to have the actual forms reworked to reflect the correct wording, like not sign what's here tonight, but just come in and sign it tomorrow?
I was told I didn't generate, first of all, I'd like to thank Pam Smith for
Bringing this up,
bringing
yes.
this up. And then also just to note that I did talk with the finance department and the town manager and got confirmation that sort of the way of moving it this way was acceptable to them. So,
Right.
things will get paid out of the right places. And it's their opinion that we can sign off on this stuff.
So what we signed would be the original misstated version, but because we've made a public recording of what the correct thing is, it's okay to
Yes,
sign
because
Okay.
we moved both how to pay it correctly in the amounts and from where.
Okay,
That should cover, the direction that the fiscal oversight that we're supposed to be providing.
okay, well, in that case, I'm gonna second that motion, which you just made.
Okay. Have you written this down?
It's in this,
But we did change it.
I didn't change it.
Okay.
I just
Sitting
skipped
in
ahead.
this motion sheet that
Okay.
Emo sent out.
Yes,
this
yeah.
part.
All right.
Oh, yeah, it was in the one that the last motion sheet.
The updated one. Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Good. All right.
So then we have to vote.
So we can discuss it. I don't know if who else is on, or if anybody has any, comments, questions, concerns.
We have the town manager and Cheryl Lindbergh and Pamela Smith. So maybe to Cheryl or Pam, particularly Pam, because you raised this. How do you feel about that?
Who doesn't have her hand up?
Okay, yeah, if people are good with it, great. I think we're good.
Oh, it's okay.
I will leave that to the board to decide.
Thanks, Pam.
Yeah, I would add that I think what Matt has proposed is accurate and acceptable. That's all you need.
And I would like to thank Selectman Sweat for such a clear and concise
Yes.
resolution to this.
It was good.
Sir, you are
Teamwork.
a steely-eyed finance man. Thank you.
I take no credit.
Teamwork. Thanks to Pam.
Yeah.
Shall we vote?
Reflected glory.
All right, you get to call the vote.
Okay. Selectman Gear,
Yes.
Selectman Sweat,
Yes.
Selectwoman Layton,
Yes.
myself, Selectman Classen, Vice Chair, yay.
Through it here.
I move to receive all correspondence.
Second that.
Okay. Now I need to read.
Yeah. kind of
Okay.
Description of everything.
So our chairman, thank you. Oh, appreciate it, Rob. So our chairman has sent me by email his wordage for acknowledging receipt of correspondence, and it proceeds as follows. In addition to correspondence already received supporting items on this week's agenda, Stephen Hepburn wrote to the Select Board encouraging that our discussions remain grounded in clarity, policy, alignment, and long-term financial strategy. He also suggested it will be helpful if the Select Board to maintain a clear view of a number of items. Chris Katuki sent the Select Board a letter asking for a number of things for the special meeting of May 27th. The members of the Select Board were copied on this letter and had the information in hand for that special meeting. Peter Orner sent a letter updating his observation regarding Moor Lane Bridge. Marsha Callaway sent a letter critical of an item that the chair had proposed for the agenda for this meeting, but was removed in the interests of time. Brendan Klassen, Vice Chair, wrote a rebuttal to Ms. Callaway's letter. The item will be proposed for a future agenda, as I believe it worth discussing. Mary Layton wrote a letter also critical of the item mentioned above. Rita Cito sent a letter regarding volume counts and locations of traffic counts that will be collected this summer. Our Finance Director, Barry Rosalinda, wrote a plea for us to adhere to the vision and guiding principles of the Select Board, asking that we remember that respect and civility in the face of disagreement and contention is part of our guiding principles. Charles Lidner wrote to submit his resignation from the Norwich Energy Committee, and Patricia Spellman sent a letter of resignation from the Norwich Finance Committee. Harry Falconer of Two Rivers Ottaquechee Regional Commission sent a cover letter and memo outlining possible actions for advancing the goals of Article 36. And Cheryl Lindbergh, in her role of Town Treasurer, sent a letter requesting that the month and year of terms of committee members be added to the website, also noting that an empty Finance Committee seat has not yet been advertised. Town Clerk Lily Tryman sent us a list of unlicensed dogs with a copy of the warrant to impound unlicensed dogs that was sent to Chief of Police Matthew Romei. Marsha Callaway sent a letter critical of agenda item 5 on the agenda of the special Select Board meeting of June 3rd. And Brendan Klassen, Vice Chair, sent a letter on behalf of the Select Board expressing appreciation to Stephen Hepburn, whose own letter requested that the appointment of Russell North to the Finance Committee be rescinded due to lack of engagement and an indication from Russell that he was considering resigning. And that concludes correspondence this evening.
I'd like to note one thing though. I believe that the thing that Lily attached, the warrant to impound unlicensed dogs, was not actually sent to Chief Romei. It was included there because she gave us the option to do that, and it's to our discretion to send that along.
Thank you, Matt.
And so I actually appreciate that discretion because it's awfully harsh. Or at least in my opinion. I'm not sure.
How's your dog?
I exercise that, and I'm happy that neither of my dogs are on the list.
Oh, good. All right. Well, Stan is corrected. Jenny, are you happy to amend that in the correspondence? Is this? So we need to revise. Yeah. So
No, you can just note that I changed.
okay.
So yes.
Thank you. Minor but important.
I appreciated if we get to discuss these. I thank Barry for her letter. It's always important to be reminded to treat others the way you would like to be treated.
Yes.
And I especially appreciated her last paragraph, redirecting us to the vision and guiding principles of the Select Board. You know, you can't be reminded enough times to be kind to people, listen, keep an open mind, treat people like you want to be treated yourselves. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
And I see Barry Rosalinda writing as a member of the public as much as anything else. This, I think her role as Finance Director is tangential to this, and members of the public are key. So acknowledged.
Did we vote?
We didn't vote yet.
Okay. Let me go to that. Item 14, receipt of correspondence. I move to receive all correspondence.
I think we did that.
We did that? Okay, we've done it already. So now we
Gotta vote.
got to vote. So vote. Selectman Sweat.
Yes.
Selectwoman Layton.
Yes.
Selectman Gear.
Yes.
And myself, Vice Chair Klassen. Yes, yay.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Good.
Fifth. Okay. All right. Can we vote on moving to adjourn the meeting? Selectman Gear.
Yeah.
I think it was Rob. Here.
Yeah, well, it comes to that.
Yeah.
Mary seconded it. Right?
Well, sort of a tie. Rob.
Okay.
I thirded it, though.
Selectwoman Layton, your vote.
I vote yes.
Yes. Selectman Sweat.
Yes.
And myself, Vice Chair Clausen, yes. Meeting adjourned. And I don't have a gavel, but I'll tap my pen.
No.
Is it free
Recording
tap?
stopped.
Thank you, those online. Thank you for sticking with us. Meeting adjourned at, oh, we didn't have good time. Thank you, Jenny.
So, Brendan.
Yep.
Sort of ignore an agenda item, but I think we're tired.
Yeah.
I stop the recording. So have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.